Observe a perfectly set table in a 1960s Dutch dining room. Every plate is accounted for, every chair is neatly tucked in, and the illusion of absolute domestic order is meticulously maintained. Then, notice a single missing spoon. It seems minor, but it forces us to ask a difficult question. What happens when the things we fiercely protect don't actually belong to us? This uncomfortable mystery sits at the center of Yael van der Wouden's debut novel, The Safekeep. Set 15 years after World War II, the story unfolds in a country where the streets are full of celebration, but behind these newly reconstructed walls, a specific kind of silence has taken root. Enter Isabel. She is 27 years old, living completely isolated in her family's cavernous country house, enforcing strict, unyielding routines on herself and her surroundings. She meticulously inventories her late mother's possessions, aggressively guarding items like this brightly patterned ceramic tableware to fill a quiet, grieving void. But then, Louis arrives unexpectedly with Eva, his latest girlfriend, and demands she stay for the entire summer season. Eva is everything Isabel despises. She is loud, chaotic, and completely indifferent to this carefully curated museum of a life. Eva walks heavily through the halls, touches things she shouldn't, and even sleeps in Isabel's deceased mother's sacred bedroom. For years, Isabel's senses were attuned to the maintenance of the house. Now, her hyper-awareness turns entirely towards tracking her unwanted guests' every move. Then, household objects start vanishing. First a spoon, a knife, a bowl, then a broken ceramic piece buried in the garden. Isabel's tight control clashes with Eva's reckless presence. This mystery of missing items drives the mistress into obsessive paranoia. But the furious hostility begins to mutate. The intense scrutiny morphs into a heavy, electric sexual tension between the two women. The forced proximity of the house begins to wear down every barrier Isabel has carefully maintained for years. They fall into a passionate, messy affair, tearing down the physical boundaries Isabel had spent her entire life building. The affair consumes them, yet every time they step out of the bedroom, another piece of the house has vanished, leaving the original mystery unresolved. Isabel eventually uncovers Eva's diary. As she reads the pages, the reason for Eva's presence in this house is laid bare. This grand country home, and every pristine plate and bowl inside it, originally belonged to Eva's Jewish family before the war. Isabel's family acquired the estate only after the original owners were rounded up and sent to the concentration camps. Every instance of Eva's clumsiness or her disrespect for the house transforms into a deliberate act of recovery. The weight of that single missing spoon pulls at the foundation of the house, representing a history they've spent 15 years trying to forget. This scale visualizes a single piece of cutlery outweighing the entire estate, showing how the smallest mundane objects can harbor the heaviest secrets. Isabel's hoarding functioned as a direct reflection of a broader society clinging aggressively to denial and collective guilt. Eva's deliberate intrusions stand as the righteous demands of a survivor refusing to let her history be neatly filed away and erased. Ultimately, the safekeep demonstrates that a sense of security can never exist when it rests upon a stolen foundation.